everybody, welcome. I'm welcome. So basically, in this tarot card reading that I'm going to tell you all, this is going to be for June 22nd to June 28th of 2025. So basically, in this wonderful reading, I'm just going to tell you all that it's a wonderful reading, and I hope that this is going to resonate to all of you. If it does, you have to make it to understand about what's going on in this entire reading, because that's the way it kind of goes, because that's how it is, right? We have to understand that when we go with the flow, we have to understand what we're going to be doing, and we have to understand what's best for all of us. That's how it goes, right? So we have to understand about what's going on in that way, in that sequence, in that ability from knowing what to do. And we have to understand about how we can do it, right? So this is not how it's going to be the outskirts of how it is, or how it seems to be, or what have you. But then we have to understand about how we can do it, and in the way of how it is, right? Because we have to understand about the amount of time, the amount of risk, the amount of ability from knowing what to do, and we have to understand that, right? So we have to understand about how it is, and it's the way it seems to be, right? We have to do exactly what we're told to do, right? So it's the way it seems to be, and we have to understand what the universe is saying, because we have to believe that how it goes, right? We have to do exactly how it is, right? So we have to understand about the way how we can do it, the way how we can be expressive of how we're going to be doing. We have to understand that, right? Because there are things that you must learn first, and we have to understand that, right? So there are lessons we have to be good at exactly what we're going to be doing, and it's going to be very interesting indeed, because that's how it goes, right? So we have to be mindful about what's going on and how we're going to do it, but this is how it is, right? We have to understand what's going to be happening in that way. That's how it is. So this oracle card, it says acceptance. I'm learning to accept the things that I cannot change. The way how this is, the way you're going to accept on how things are, you have to understand that, right? You have to understand about the challenges, you have to understand about what you're going to be feeling, how you're going to be doing, but that's how it is. You have to do exactly how you're going to be doing, and that's how it is, right? You have to believe that when things are into that way, you have to understand that. You have to come out of what you're doing, but then you have to understand that. We have to use your own abilities from the right and wrong perspective. That's all you can do. But then you have to understand that, right? That's how it is, right? So when you have acceptance, you have to pay attention on how it is, right? That's how it goes, right? So that's how it is. So this is going to be a very different reading, because this is the way it seems to be in that way, and this is the way it kind of goes in that way. So let's see what's going on here. So basically, in this reading, we have basically the King of Cups. It does represent support here, because it does represent Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. But the way how this is, the way you're going to have support during this week, you pay attention to what's going on, because you have to understand about the abilities from the wrong perspective. Because the way how this is, the way it's going to be accordingly to plan, you know what to do, right? That's why when things have to be in place, you have to know that, right? Everything has to be in that way. You have to be who you are and be authentic and be, realistic, whatever it is. And you have to know exactly what it is. There are things that you must learn to understand that, right? There are lessons that you need to believe, because when you have support, you know what to do. But then if you have to have your own acceptance, if you have to know about having support, you do exactly what you're told to do, right? That's the way it goes. And, you have to understand that, because you have to believe that this is the way it goes, and this is how it's going to be, right? That's how it is. So that's how it seems to be. So let me look from the middle to the left, middle to the right. For Wands is upright, the Hierophant is upright, for the Chariot is upright, for the Empress is upright, for the Five of Swords reversed, for the Four of Swords reversed, for the Death card is upright. Yeah, because there are endings right here. There's nourishment. There's progress. There's guidance. There's basically you're going to a wedding. Maybe you're not, but there are things you need to understand that. So you could be focusing on another Scorpio as another water sign. There might be another Leo, Aries, Sagittarius as well, because you pay attention to it. That's the way it goes, right? So there are things that you understand the way how it goes, right? This is the way it seems to be, and when you do that, that's how it goes. What's happening between the middle and the right side, please? The Seven of Pentacles reverse, there's no vision. The Six of Cups reverse, there's no the past, and the Four of Cups separate, there's a distraction here. Yeah, because when you get distracted, you know, the way of how it is, you have to know exactly what it is. It's like, okay, I know what to do, alright, I got this, but then you have to understand that, right? There are things that you need to understand to explain yourself, to explain about what's going on in that appealing, and think that, okay, everything's going to be fine, alright, I got this, but then it's like, well, no, this is not going to work out. But then if you're going to a wedding, if you're going to have endings, if you're going to have progress, if you have a distraction, there are things that you must learn, right? So if you're dealing with another Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, that's why you understand that, but that's how it goes, right? So when you have progress, you pay attention, and when you do that, that's the way it goes, right? It's like, okay, I understand that, alright, this is the way it goes. I'm not trying to have a boast-up move, but the way how it is, right? This is a bold move, right? You have to understand that, and when you do that, that's the way it goes, right? You have to believe that everything seems to be fine, right? But that's how it goes, right? You have to do exactly what you're told to do, because that's the way it goes, right? That's the way it kind of is, right? So you have to shape your own desires, but know what to do next. That's how it goes, right? So let's see what's happening. So I'm going to go from the middle to the right, middle to left. The High Priestess upright, you're going to use your own voice. The Magician reverse, there's no skill. Fool reverse, there's no change. The Five Swords reverse, there's no conflict. But the Seven of Cups right there's a delusion. Yeah, because the way how this is, when you have a delusion, it's like you're having a deja vu moment, right? That's why it goes. And when you have a deja vu moment, it's like why you're having this, right? It's the way how it goes, right? That's why it's kind of like uncommon, because that's the way it goes, right? It's like, why are you doing this? Because that's how it is, right? So when you have to believe in order to that, that's the way it goes, right? So it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you not focusing about what you want, what you need? And when you do that, that's how it goes, right? What's happening between the middle and the left side, please? The Five of Wands is upright, there's chaos. The Seven of Wands is upright, there's resilience. Queen of Wands is upright, there's charisma. The Chariot is upright, there's progress. Justice is upright, you're telling the truth. Four of Wands reverse, you're not going to a wedding, but you're not going to celebrate. The Knight of Swords reverse, there's no drama. Five of Cups reverse, there's no grief. Ace of Wands reverse, there's no new beginnings. Four of Pentacles upright, because you're looking for money, or you're looking for stability, whatever it is. And when you do that, that's how it goes. It's like, okay, I need to do something, that's why it is, and that's how it goes, right? That's why you need to understand what's going to affect you in the long run, right? That's why it goes, right? This is not a marathon. This is not the way how it goes, but you have to understand that the part of this, you have to understand what it takes, because that's how it goes. It's like, you have to read between the lines. You have to pay attention to what you're doing, because that's how it goes, right? That's how it's going to get involved. That's the way it goes. That's how it needs to be. What's in the middle of this situation here? The Knight of Pentacles is upright, yeah, because you're feeling comfortable. You're feeling like, okay, everything's fine, alright, I'm going to do this. But then it's like, how would you do that, right? That's why when you do that in that way, you know exactly what it is in that society of how it goes, and you have to think, okay, well, this is a boaster move. That's why I need to figure this out, because that's how it goes, right? So when you do that, that's how it kind of occurs in that way, right? You have to have your own stability. You have to pay attention to what works, what doesn't, but you know what I mean, right? That's why it seems to be that. Let me clarify this Seven of Cups here. The Eight of Cups reverse, there's no entertainment. The Lovers reverse, there's no decisions. The Queen of Cups reverse, there's no empathy. But the Devil's upright, because there's obsessions, there's violence, that's how it goes, right? When you in this way, it's like, why are you doing it? Why that you have this? Because that's the way it goes. It's like, why you need this, right? And when you have negativity, it's basically saying that you need to work on it. You need to understand what you're going through, because it's based on that. It's like, why are you having this? It's like, why are you having problems, or why you're not thinking straight? Because that's how it goes. Like, Why are you doing exactly what you're told to do, and you're not focusing on what you're going to do, right? So it's like, why are you feeling like this? So let's see what's going on. So let me go from the middle to the right, middle to the left. So I'm going to see what's happening. So 9 of Pentacles is upright, they're feeling comfortable. 8 Cups is upright, you want to entertainment. The Tower reverse, there's no transformation. Moon reverse, there's instrumentation. 7 of Wands reverse, there's no rude silence. 9 of Swords is upright, there's drama. Yeah, because that's how it goes, right? So it's like, why are you having drama and violence at the same time? It's like, why are you making that? Because it's like, why? You have to understand that. Because when you have negativity, or when things are not going your way, why are you doing it? You know, that's why you need to understand about this is the way how it goes. This is the way about how society is. That's why you need to understand that, because you have to believe about knowing what to do, and you have to understand about what's going on in that way. That's the way it goes, right? So when you do that, that's how it goes. What's in the middle to the left side, please? 10 Cups start, there's completion. 2 of Swords reverse, you already know which path you're going to take. King of Wands reverse, there's no passion. 9 of Wands upright, there's fear. Taurus reverse, there's no healing. Devil is upright, there's obsessions and violence. You know, that's how it goes, right? So it's like, why are you feeling like this? Why are you feeling like this is the way how it goes? It's like, why? Because that's how it goes. It's like, why are you focusing on another Scorpio? Why are you focusing on another Capricorn? Why are you focusing on, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, or Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, or Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus? There are zodiac signs here. Why are you focusing on another Gemini, Libra, Aquarius? That's how it goes, right? That's why it seems to be that. And when you do that, that's the way how it happens, and that's how it goes, right? So when you have to have this peace of mind, or the way how it is, you have to shape your own emotions, whatever it is, right? That's why you have to feel that. You have to do exactly what you're told to do, and do exactly how it seems to be. That's why it goes, right? That's why it is that. So let me focusing on this devil on this left side here. The Star reverse, there's no misrotations. The Fool reverse, there's no change. But the Empress is upright, yeah, because there's no nourishment here, right? So it's like, you're thinking that, okay, everything seems to be fine, alright, that's how it goes, because that's how it is. And when you do that, it's like, why are you focusing on that, right? Is it wrong? Is it rude? Is it disciplined? Because that's how it is. It's like you're feeling discomfortable, or why are you having this? Because that's how it goes. So what's happening with this Empress card? The Strength card is upright, you want bravery. Justice is upright, you're telling the truth. Yeah, because that's how it goes. And when you do that, that's how it goes. It's like, why are you focusing on how you're going to be focusing? Then you do exactly what you're told to do. That's how it goes, right? It's like, why are you doing it? This is why it seems to be that. And that's how it goes. What's in the middle of the situation? The Hangman is upright. Yeah, because you're having restrictions. You're having restrictions because you're having it. That's why it goes that. When you have restrictions, it's like how you're going to do that because you're being restricted of knowing what to do next. That's how it goes, right? That's why I think to be that. What's happening to this Knight of Swords here? The Death card reverse, yeah, because there's no endings here. So when you have no endings, it's like, why are you doing that? Why are you focusing on how it is, right? You're trying to be who you are because you know exactly what's going to happen now, and that's how it goes, right? That's the way it goes. And when it is that, you have to understand that. What's happening with this Hangman here? The Strength card reverse, you're not having a strength. The Fool reverse, there's no change. The Devil reverse, there's no obsessions. But the Magician's upright because you want skill. Yeah, because you're paying attention what's going to do, what's going to happen next. That's how it goes, right? So like you're having violence or not violence. That's the way it goes, right? And that's how it remains of that society, right? That's how it goes. What's happening with this Death card here? The Hierophant is upright, you want guidance. The Justice is upright, you're telling the truth. Yeah, because the way how this is, If you're telling the truth on the left side, you're paying attention to it. If you're having justice on the right side, you're having truth on the other side. The magician is upright because you want skill. That's where it goes, right? That's why it happens. So let's see what this magician is about. The Lovers is upright, there's decision. The Temperance is reversed, there's no healing. But the Emperor is upright, there's structure. Yeah, because that's the way it goes. It's like, why are you having this way about knowing what to do? And that's how it is, right? So let's see what's happening between this Hierophant and this Justice on the right side. The Judgment is upright, yeah, because you're taking action. Yeah, because you want to have action. You want things to be in that perspective, right? That's the way it goes. And when that is a temptation, you have to know exactly what it is, right? You're trying to know what it is in that way, and you have to focus of what's going to happen. So let's see who's on the left side, who's in the middle, and who's on the right. So let's see. So on the left side we have the Seven of Air. Plans that need revision, more going on than meets the eye. Poor timing. Yeah, it could be that, right? Because you might be having poor timing. Maybe there's something that was happening in that way, because that's how it goes. So you could be focusing on another Gemini, Libra, Aquarius in that way, because that's how it goes, right? You need to focus of what's going to happen now in that way, because you have to do exactly what you're going to be doing. If you're having poor timing, or if there's something going on, because that's how it kind of is, right? That's why it seems to be that in that way, and think, okay, well, things need to be fine, I got this. But then you have to understand what it is, what it takes, because that's how it is, right? That's how it's going to be in theory, right? That's how it goes, okay? What's happening in the middle? Unity, Archangel Sadaphon, is traditional viewpoints or methods, spiritual organizations, seek out mentors and like-minded friends. Yeah, that's where it goes, right? So you have to be who you are, because you have to think about what's going on through your own way and think that everything seems to be fine and noted, because that's how it goes, right? You have to think about what's going on in that way, and you have to do exactly what you're told to do, right? That's how it goes. And when you have to understand that, it's like, alright, I know what to do, alright, I got this, but then it's like, how would you do that, right? How would you understand that to do exactly what you're told to do, because that's how it goes, right? It's like, okay, everything's fine, alright, I know what to do, but that's how it goes, right? So you have to be who you are, to be authentic with your friends. Maybe it could be that, I don't know, but you know what I mean, right? And what's happening on the right side? The Eight of Earth is skilled work is rewarded. Learning, all there is to know about topic, going back to school. Yeah, so you have to learn about something. It could be that. It could be focusing about maybe going back to school. Maybe you're going to learn about a topic. You know, that's how it goes, right? So you have to understand that there are things that you need to understand to appeal of what you want, and you know how it goes, because you're trying to be who we are, but then you have to understand what it takes, right? It's like, how would you do it in one or another, and how would you be focusing on how it goes, right? So that's how it seems to be. So you'd be focusing on another Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, in that way, in that how it is, but that's how it is potentially of how it seems to be in that way, okay? Alright, so let's see what the universe is saying here. So let's see. I'm going to go from the middle to the right, middle to left. Five of Wands is upright, there's chaos. Ace of Wands reversed, there's no new beginnings. Ace of Swords is upright, is understanding. The Three of Pentacles is upright, there's excitement. The Five of Swords reversed, there's no revenge. Eight of Swords reversed, there's no anxiety. The Empress reverse, there's no nourishment. 2 wands reverse, there's no planning. 7 of Pentacles, so right there's vision. So basically you're focusing on your career because you have to focus on that. If you're focusing about having chaos, or you're having an understanding here, or you're having excitement, you pay attention to it, right? That's how it goes. You understand what it takes, because that's how it seems to be in that way. It's like, okay, this is the way it seems to be. I don't know what to do, but then it's how it is, right? That's the way it seems to be in that way. So you could be focusing on another Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. You could be focusing on a Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. You could be focusing on Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You know, that's how it goes, right? That's the way it seems to be in that way. And this is the way it kind of works in that, right? So you have to understand that. Let's from the middle to the left side, please. The 5 of Cups here, there's no grief. 3 wands to start, there's communication. Ace of Pentacles here, no growth. The 7 of Cups is upright, there's a delusion. 3 of Swords to start, there's heartbreak. Yeah, because you're feeling sad, right? You're whimpering. You don't know what to do. You're trying to have communication. You know, that's how it goes. If you're having a deja vu moment, or there are things that you need to learn, you have to do exactly what I told you to do, right? So you have to understand what it takes, because that's how it goes, right? You have to do exactly what you want, and what you get, and what you deserve, because that's how it goes, right? You have to do exactly what I told you to do. It's like, that's how it seems to be. It's like, alright, I know what to do, alright, because that's the way it goes, right? Everything has to be all great, and this is the way it seems to be, right? That's how it kind of is in that moment, right? In that moment of time, that's the way it goes. And when you do that, it's like, okay, everything's going to be, you know, I need to do it, but that's how it goes, right? You have to rebound. You have to do something what it takes, because that's the way it goes, right? That's the way it seems to be. What's happening between this heartbreak? The 3 of Cups start, there's celebration. The Emperor reverse, there's no structure. 7 of Swords start, there's deceit. Yeah, because you're feeling deceit. And when you're feeling deceit, and when you have celebrations, when you have heartbreak, when things are not going right, that's how it goes, right? It's like, why are you doing it? Because that's how it goes. It's like the way how it seems to be, right? So when you do exactly what it is, that's how it goes in that way, because you're focusing on what you're going to do. That's how it goes. What's in the middle of this situation? The 6 of Cups is separate, yeah, because you're thinking about the past. So when you think about the past, it's like, why are you doing that in that way? Like, why you have that ability to know what's going to happen next, you know? That's why it seems to be that. That's how it goes, right? So you have to do exactly what you're told to do, because you do exactly what it is. You have to be responsible for how you're feeling. You know, that's how it goes. And when it does that, you know what it takes, right? That's why you have to understand that this is like a bold move. This is the way how it goes. But then it's like, how you're going to do it. How you're going to focus on that. How you know, how it is, right? You're trying to figure out about how it goes, because there are, you know, the 5 W's is who, what, where, when, why in that situation, you know. That's why it seems to be that. That's why you need to understand about what's going on in that way, you know, because this is the way it seems to be. So you have to understand what it is in that way. You have to do exactly what I told you, you know, how it is. So the reading of this, you pay attention to what's going on. You have to pay attention about your values and how you're going to do it, how you're going to have self-respect, how you're going to do exactly what I told you to do, because that's how it seems to be. You have to believe about everything will be all fine, but then it's like, how will you do it? How are you going to focus on that, right? That's why you have to focus about, this is the way how it occurs in that way, right? You have to be professional. You have to be respected. You have to be practical. You have to be, you know, who you are. And you have to be authentic. Maybe you're going to do that. I don't know. But you know what I mean, right? You have to pay attention to what you're going to be doing, but that's how it goes, right? So I hope you all like this video. Please give it a like. Please give a comment and enjoy. And that's how it goes. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to all. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much. And have a good day. Thank you. And have a nice day to all. Thank you. Bye for now. Really, thank you. And bye.